Love and longing. The eggs were getting close. Airy Noir had been out and carried about for nearly a week now. Sia Noir had moved in to lend her aid in anticipation, and the entire family had come by to see the newest member. Dr. Ern Hora had visited twice more, once to give Airy Noir a full and deep scan, and another to fully scan the eggs. Little Ari has her father's stomach. She also has his kidneys, oversized liver, back-built brain, and adrenal glands as well. She is theoretically null immune with little holdovers from evolutionary steps that the Apuk outright skipped. She is, for lack of a better term, 150% healthier than most, hence the increased appetite. When Vernon asks about sweat glands, she comes up negative, however. It is understandable, but it will be a problem if she ever enters cruel space. She can't rely on the axiom to control her temperature there. There are few problems, although Ari does get a little fussy the first few times she's held by her grandmother, but after a few traditional Apuk lullabies, Ari warmed up to her. Especially as the lullabies are sung with a tiny tongue of flame with every word, little Airy Noir was utterly spellbound by the display, and her protest died away. The day is gentle and warm when there's a knock at the door. No one was expected, however, with one child born and the rest ready to hatch at any moment. Guests and well-wishers were far from unexpected. What Vernon opens the door to is not a soldier in his off-duty fatigues, not a civilian Apuk with the Noir family features, not a battle princess with their fanciful dresses and pretty little crowns. He opens the door to a wall of corded and rippling muscle in a vaguely female shape that towers up like a mountain. By a living miasma of self-hatred, shame, and no small amount of fear. "Zion Hute, I did not expect you," Vernon says simply. "I take it your apprenticeship in the Sisterhood of Inner Embers has finished if you're here." Yes, she says, and he re-examines her. The brown burlap of the Sisterhood, a pack of supplies, and likely a ticket somewhere. "Would you like to come in?" he asks, and she pauses. I do not think I will fit." "Vernon? Who is it?" Miro Noir asks from inside. "A face from the tournament," he calls back in. "Really? Who?" "Zion Hute," Miro Noir asks, walking up and then pausing. She has Ari in her arms, and the disgraced warrior just stares for a moment before taking a step back. "I'm sorry, this was a mistake. I'll be leaving now," she says, turning to leave. "No, we need to talk." "Vernon?" Miro Noir asks. "While there was a lot of unfairness going on in that tournament, my reversing it in the way I did was not only over the top, but completely disproportionate. Was punishment needed? Yes. But what I did was too much." "So you admit that?" Zion Hute asks in shock. "I admit it freely. I was angry in the moment and I made you into a pariah. Maybe you deserved some of it, but your entire life destroyed? No, that was too much." Vernon says he then glances at Airy, who's staring up at the biggest person she's ever seen. "We all start out as innocent, and whatever stains we pick up along the way, those can be wiped clean. Innocence cannot be regained, but a sense of rightness can. That's all very nice, but I'm still a pariah among my own people, outcast and publicly shamed in my own home, unsafe and hated by those I once called friend. Then perhaps you shouldn't have tried to use poison and 1,000 different technicalities to eliminate my Vernon in the tournament. A sorcerer, alien or not, in a shellcracker tournament is just plain unfair. As unfair as any poison, rule wrangling, or underhanded tactic." Zion Hute counters. "He only used sorcery twice, once to prove he could, and then when you infuriated him by insulting me." Miro Noir defends Vernon hotly and only stops herself from shouting when Ari starts to fuss. "My love, calm yourself," Vernon says, giving her a gentle kiss that she melts into. "She is right. I've made her unwelcome in her own home. That's not right nor just. so I'm going to make it right. And how are you going to do that? Some big public announcement? Royal decree? Oh, right. You didn't even participate in the next tournament. You have no title. I'm going to give you another option, Vernon says, pulling out his communicator. A few taps and it starts projecting the symbol of the Undaunted above it. In the time between the tournament and now my people became a unified legal polity, a military state. We're recruiting. Someone with your martial skill can go very far so long as you're willing to take both orders and criticism. If nothing else, it will give you place to be and a people to be a part of while Serbo calms down about you. Publicly, all you did was insult the wrong person and make a stupid choice. In a few years, it will be nearly forgotten if no one draws attention to it. And how will this help me? Zion Hute asks, confused. It will give you a place to be, a people to belong to, and an honorable excuse to not be seen for a time. You do a tour of duty with the Undaunted, come back wearing our colors and sweep through a tournament, and your story becomes a very different one from what it is now. Vernon offers, and she stares at the symbol floating above his communicator. Where? Centris. I see, Zion Hute says before taking off her pack and digging through it. The communicator she brings out is tiny in her hand, and he quickly transfers the data to it. That's everything you need to know to get started, Vernon says with a smile. I'll call ahead to let them know you're coming. This hasn't gone any way I thought it would, Zion Hute says, and Vernon shrugs. I guess that makes this exciting then, doesn't it? He asks, and she stares at him. I do not understand you. His response to that is a shrug. What point is there to endless grudges and hate? You angered me, and I hit back much harder than is perhaps reasonable. So now I make restitution in a way that still benefits me while making things up to you. Aren't sorcerers supposed to hold endless grudges? Do you want me to hold grudges? No. Then let's drop the subject. You made mistakes, I overreacted, and this is how I make up for it. Okay? Vernon asks. I suppose. Oh, for goodness sakes, you silly girl, why are you so hesitant? Miro Noir asks crossly. This isn't how it's supposed to be. I trained all my life to try and get a chance at the crown. I pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed to do my best. That's how you're supposed to earn it. It's how it's supposed to be, and then out of nowhere comes this alien monster in strange armor, making a mockery of the entire thing. I try to find if there's any way to get them out and nothing happens. I try to send some basic toxins to distract the monster and nothing happens. So you admit to trying to poison my Vernon, Miro Noir demands, bristling, then calming down as Aaron Noir starts fussing. Not that it worked. My kind have an extreme toxin resistance compared to most races. What you consider poisonous, I consider mere seasoning, Vernon says. I know that now. I was hoping to get some kind of advantage, hit the opponents hard and stop them moving before breaking the shells. It's the easiest and most practical way to win. Then I found a way to make you angry, and angry opponents are sloppy, but you weren't. You were just unrestrained. Why didn't you apologize as he asked of you at that point? And admit my defeat? I may as well have forfeited than I did in a scenario far worse unfolded. Vernon finishes and Zion Hute nods miserably. That wasn't supposed to happen. If I was beaten, then fine, I was beaten. But how do you respond to being declared unworthy of battle in front of the entire Apuk race and more? I don't know. I've lived among your kind for less than a year. I don't know those nuances. I've offered you a way out with dignity and honor to it. Take it or leave it, Vernon says while frowning. The circular nature of the conversation is beginning to annoy him. I'm taking it. I just thought it would be easy, you know? I mean, Princess Miro Noir, you went down the path I was looking for. I jumped in so early, I didn't bother forging a life outside of fighting. I proved myself in battle, earned my crown, and started training with the other princesses. I had nothing else. I had no prospects, marriage-wise, without begging in. I had no friends outside of working relationships, and the only thing I had going for me is the fact that I come from a supportive family. That earned me the name Miro Noir, the Matchless, fairly quickly. Do you want to be the next Matchless so badly? No. Then live first. Have something other than fighting in your life. Be more than just a battle princess aspirant. Be a person first. I see. Thank you for giving me so much to think about, Zion Hute says before glancing at her communicator. I'll be going now. I think I will be signing up for the Undaunted if they'll have me. So long as you're willing to obey lawful orders, you'll be fine, Vernon assures her, and she nods. Thank you. I'll be going now. Best of luck with the little one, she says before turning away and walking as if in a minor daze. Well, that didn't go as anyone expected. Vernon notes after she reaches a reinforced jump pad and hurls herself into the distance. Indeed, although I'm pinning the blame on you, Miro Noir accuses, poking him in the arm. Me? Vernon asks, his face a picture of innocence. She came here expecting some kind of recrimination and accusation, and you instead turn it around. My goodness, man, you delight in confusing others, don't you? She chides him. Somewhat, he admits, but it was niggling at me a bit. I mean, yes, what she did in the tournament was dirty and dishonorable, but a disqualification would have been enough, not public humiliation and global infamy. That was too far. Perhaps, but at the time it was very proportional. You outright demanded an apology and she spat upon you before attacking again, Miro Noir says. Heat of the moment it was right, but the long-term consequences were too high. This mitigates it, and has her grateful of you and your people. Also, once news of this out, it's going to make your Undaunted even more popular. It's almost like I'm getting better at long-term thinking and finding solutions that please more people, Vernon teases. Well then, I hope to see that in action in the coming days. So do I. But first, I have a call to make, he says, leaning over to kiss her on the forehead and then lean down and give Ari Noir a little peck as well. The tiny girl squirms at the attention and manages to give him a little slap on the face. Ow, little lady! With Ari giggling a little at his silly voice, Miro Noir carries her back inside and Vernon closes the door before stepping to the side. He presses a few buttons and soon enough is listening to the chime. Agent Shay, you're on paternity leave. What's happened? I'm sending a recruit your way. Her name is Zion Hute, an Apuk journeyman of the Sisterhood of Inner Embers, a monastic order based around redemption. Zion Hute. Wait, isn't she the woman you completely humiliated in that tournament? She is. She's looking for purpose and dignity and is already a monster of a close-range combatant. Perhaps not battle princess level, but close to it, if not already there. A little bit of training and she could be a hell of a door opener or a beast of a bodyguard. I see. Thank you for the heads up, soldier. Is there anything else we should know? She's undergone the Apuk psychological oddity where they grow bigger and more physically intimidating when they're insecure. The woman is gigantic. She's at least the size of a Canador with muscles on the muscles of her muscles. So she's going to need a plus-sized uniform. Understood. Actually, we could use her knowledge and tendencies to create a second Titan squadron. Big muscled monsters with a willingness to go into danger tend to be quite the hammer for the nails of the galaxy. Just be careful that you don't over-rely on a single tool. We know Agent Shay. Anything else to report? Nothing else new. Good man. Command out.